Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
Friday night.
hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
I've stolen Dong all to myself for this evening. Jamie's on vacation, and I'm sure those of you also know that Ron's on his way. He should be hitting Birmingham around now. He said 8 o'clock on his way to Aqua. Looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. Me and Dong tonight. We're getting a bit technical, Dong, tonight. You're bringing your A game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you ever so much for coming back on. We really do appreciate it.
No problem.
And
My pleasure.
I briefly touched on it then with Ron. If anybody is making their way down to Aqua H, we both hope you had a safe journey. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow and over the weekend. Should be good. Should be good. Ever thought about coming to the UK, Dong?
Well, if you look at what I have over there,
you don't need to.
The chances. Yeah.
But we're trying. UK Reefers are trying tomorrow. Aqua H. Last year was great. It was a bit of a tester, but I think this weekend is going to be even better and bigger than last year. So fingers crossed. Like I say, look forward to seeing people there tomorrow. Right, and we jump straight in before Dong gets his wizard's suit on and starts talking about lighting for us this evening. Let's have a look who we've got in the comments. Who we've got? Oh, residents are here as always. Johnny Boy, good evening. Hope you're good. Nice to see you as always. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hope you're there. Emma's with us as well. Good evening, Emma. Techers is with us. How are you doing?
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. Reefing Mad. Hello.
Hello.
What's we got in here? Oh, here he is. Your biggest fan.
Gaza's Reef. Yep. Hi, how are you?
Did you answer all these questions by any chance?
I hope. He got a beautiful tank.
He has.
Oh, yeah.
It's that big he sleeps in it, as you can see in the picture. What else we got in here? Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, Gaz. Hope you're good. James, Mr. Milo, hope you're good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
UK's tallest reefer, Dan. He's that tall, Dong, honestly. Surrounded by clouds. Hope you're good, Dan. Hope you're good. Look forward to seeing you as well.
Thank you.
Anthony's with us, UK 120. Good evening.
Good evening.
You again for tuning in on this. It's quite a warm Friday night up here in Rotherham.
Oh yeah,
quite humid. Don't know what it's like where you are, Dong, at the minute. What the temperature is?
Well, we suddenly get a heat wave.
Oh.
Yeah. Right now it's like 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh. It's probably going to piss it down at Aqua H tomorrow while everybody's queuing for with the tickets. But no, I've just said that. But anyway, Jamie's here. He's not set off just yet on his jollies. But hope you have a good trip, mate. Hope you have a good one. I'll looking forward to catching up with you when you get back. Immers is with us as well. Good evening, Immers.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. You can remember what it used to be like. I'm not going to do it, but thank you very much, Peter, for joining us, Mr. Peter Parry. Matty Boy's here as well. Hope you're good.
Yep.
Nice to see you, mate.
Good evening.
Happy Friday, Coach. Hope you're good. Lee's here as well. Hello. The man that brought me that much wood I could build another house with it at the last barbecue, and it's still on my drive, Terry. But thank you very much. It's still there with the saw that you left. Thank you very much. He'll be chuckling now, I'm sure. Here he is, Reefer Reese. Hope you're good.
Good
Don't know whether you're getting to Aqua, but nice to see as many of you that are in the comments that can. Here he is as well. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Tomorrow. Who's going to Aqua? Yes. That's the name of it, Dong, if you haven't realised.
Oh, really? That's what it is? Aqua?
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it should be.
Oh.
But at the minute, it's Aqua. Liam's just elongated that a little bit. David Reeve, good evening. Hope you're good. Ailey's with us as well. Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Ailey. What else we got in here? Pedro Bar, good evening. Keep seeing that one. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate the support.
Thank you.
West is in the house.
Yeah.
Good evening, Harry.
Good evening.
Practical Reefer, evening all. Hope you're well. My first live in months. I'm well, but I'm slowly catching up. Yes. Well, the rest of them are crap. You just need to watch from tonight onwards. Just kidding. What else we got in here? Critical Reef, good evening. Oh, you're good.
Good evening.
Corey's here from Nios and White Corals, Dong. If you don't know Corey from Nios. Yeah, nice to see you, Corey.
Wow.
Thanks for joining us. We've got Amanda, who I'm sure is on her third bottle of vodka right now, as we always say.
Good evening.
Hurry up, open the fourth. Happy Friday, love. Reef on the couch. That's a new one.
Oh, hi.
Welcome.
On the couch, yes. Yeah, that's
Well,
what you're supposed to be, all right? On the couch and look at the reef tank.
yes. Well, you start off looking at the reef tank, and then when you've had enough beers, you fall on to the couch and then maybe end up on the floor. Yes. Tommy and Sharon are here. They've just sent a WhatsApp video to my missus of their hotel room, and they've got the world's biggest clock in their room. Don't know why. I hope it doesn't tick throughout the night, but nice touch. Thanks for sharing that with us. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow anyway. Glad you've arrived safe and well. Here she is, Julie from Leeds, fellow reefer near me. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. The UK's kindest reefer is a gentleman called Yarek. He's the gentlest, most kindest person. He's a lovely chap. Nice to see you, Yarek.
Nice to see you
tomorrow. Hope you're making the trip up. Well, going to be down from Nottingham, I would have thought. Shouldn't be too far for you. Tony Close, Reef UK. Hello, happy Friday.
Hello.
Have I missed anybody? Derek Hebbs. Hello from Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, hello, hello. Anthony VR. Hello from Derby. Hope you're good. Here he is, the one and only Mo Majid from Leicester / Bristol. I'm going to have to take a trip down and do a video on his tank. I need to have a look at it. Need to see it in the flesh. If you're going to invite me, Mo. Spillers Reef is with us as well. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us. A few people talking amongst themselves. Don't know if I've missed it or not. Spillers, hope you're good. If I've not said hello, happy Friday. And like Peter says, if you wouldn't mind, give us a like. Do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right then. So, as I said a second ago, we're talking about what we were talking about last week, what we're going to talk about this week. And Don, you went away to your little workshop or lair or whatever you want to call it, and you put together quite an impressive presentation for this evening, which is probably a little bit more technical than the viewers deserve on a Friday, while they're just kicking back with a beer or whatever, a glass or whatever. So I know Friday night's normally a bit of a comedy sketch, but it will be a little bit technical at times. We try and keep the balance right, and I think Dong is definitely the guy to keep that balance of humour and sort of intellect at bay. But so Dong, we're going to talk about lighting.
Yes, that's one of the most important thing for reefing. I saw a YouTube video, and the guy said you should spend about 40 to 50% of the budget on the reef tank.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit extreme, but in reality, actually, that among all the equipments you have on that glass box, the light actually maybe is the most important thing. And I used to work with LED manufacturer, because back then I was dreaming to have my own LED light, because that whatever on the market, this one has this deficiency, that one I don't like. I really want something that is fit my bill, the way that I look at it. But then the Philips Coral Care comes out. Okay, forget it. And then ATI Stratton comes out. Forget it. That's what it's supposed to be. So that's good enough.
You're going to touch on a little bit of history, though, aren't you? And you're right. Because I put that in the write-up, to be fair. When you do think about it, I mean, unless you're going to go out and buy brand new, a big custom tank, lighting is, like you say, like you rightly say, majority of the time, your biggest investment. And now there are so many to choose from. And they're constantly coming out. It's literally like an iPhone or a mobile device, just constantly new sort of iterations, of the previous model, which is why I'm, greatly, peeved that there's a new one coming out of this after I've just bought that. But such is life. Yes, like Corey's saying, Stratton X.
Let me show you my prototype.
Oh, show you on big screen.
That's the prototype. I make in, actually the LED manufacturer make this one according to my specification. That's in 2013 to 2014, more than 10 years ago. This is a prototype. So this guy just that's come out before I think the Philips Coral Care Gen 2. So basically, it's very similar idea. Originally, it actually has a frosted glass here for color blending. So this one doesn't have fan. You see, have a gigantic heatsink at the back. The spectrum actually with all the LED dial on it, will create a similar light as a radium 20K metal halide. Yeah,
Wow.
that's why I want to show you this historical artifact.
Wow. Any ideas
Yeah.
on any? Can we have any guesses on age at all? Not of you. Not of I'm going to be rude, but the light. Was it a while ago you had
Okay.
a go at that? How long ago did you start doing that?
I actually I want to design and build my LED light back 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 12 years ago. Because at that time, this is my vision was something look like a Stratton or the Philips Coral Care. But of course, that now there's already a commercial product, so there's no reason for me to pursue something like that. And that thing is quite expensive to manufacture back then.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
Just a few more shout outs, sorry, before we get onto your presentation. Hello, Matix Reef. I need to throw it up. Hello, all the way from Mexico. That's a new one.
Wow.
Thanks for joining us. I hope you're good.
Thank
Hope
you.
you're good, my man. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend. Richard Colombo, Geisman Spectra, hands up. He's saying there. Hello, how you
That's
doing?
a metal halide, right?
I think so, yeah. Looks like it.
Yeah, that's a metal halide and T5 combo.
T5 supplements, yeah, T5 combo. Reef Rondo's in the house, arrived safely by the sounds of it. I would imagine stream. Dong, please check. Tom in check. I'm sure he will. Right then. So you're going to talk to us to start with a bit of the history, like I said a second ago. So we start with history. Yep. Okay. Yep. I will do what you tell me to do within reason.
Yeah.
Are we going now? Yes.
Oh, sure. Because well, keep in mind that this history is unofficial, incomplete. Do not quote me on this kind of thing. It's just based on my recollection. So there is something called the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Right. So the memory may not serve absolutely correct. So just take it as a grain of salt. Seriously. And that's why it's unofficial. Okay, next slide, please.
Yes, boss.
Okay. So back then, of course, that I borrow all these photos, and the photo is copyright to the original owner. I have to say that so to cover my butt. So this is what 1980s reef tank looks like. Back then, at the very beginning of this hobby, people are using regular fluorescent light. Normally, it's the white light. So back then, we got pretty shitty coral. Sorry about my language. And the coral.
It's Friday night. Let your hair down.
Friday night. Yeah. The color is pretty. And according to the unofficial history, back then, somebody was working at a printing press and look at this actinic fluorescent light bulb. And whoever that is has a great idea. What happens if I take this fluorescent light bulb, the actinic light bulb, and then put it on my reef tank? Boom. Right. That comes the first generation of the fluorescent light for the reef tank is a daylight, the fluorescent tubes, alongside with actinic light bulb. So this is what you see in the photo, and basically they're using started using the actinic alongside with the warm or cool wipe. And most of the time, at that time, most of the coral are leathers, soft coral, and with a little bit of SPS. SPS at that time still really difficult to keep. So this is what it looks like back then. All started out with fluorescent bulb, and thanks to that guy that worked at the printing press and borrowed that actinic bulb. So far, this actinic bulb stayed with us for all these years. Go ahead, Tom.
Wow. Okay. I was going to say I've seen some T5 bulbs or some tube bulbs. I've had sleeves on them years ago. We used to have like different sleeves on them to change the intensity of light. Have you ever seen those?
Oh, you mean a T5 bulb has what? Has a reflector?
Had a sleeve on it, yeah. So they were like put in a sleeve. I don't know which bulb it was years and years ago. But yes, I remember these. I do briefly.
Yep. Okay. And then comes the VHO, the high power fluorescent light, because that at that time, the regular T5 bulb is just not strong enough. And then it's not strong enough for the photosynthesis of coral. And then people look into the high power VHO fluorescent bulb. By the way, these bulbs are still available today. I check online. You still can buy them. They're pretty expensive, but you still have them. But for matter of fact, those bulbs actually is quite remarkable. The reason is that the amount of power that they put out, they call the very high output fluorescent bulb. For example, for 48-inch bulb, it actually run at 110 watt. So today, the T5 fluorescent bulb, a 48-inch only run at 54 watt.
Yeah.
So if you really want to, because that as a reefer, we all know that the area that we can put on top of the tank is very limited. If you really want to squeeze as much power as possible and a very limited space, actually the VHO is still a better choice, because that it basically double the power of a T5 high output. So, but there's a issue of a fluorescent bulb. Like all the T5, T8, T10 that refer to is diameter of the bulb, they require reflector, because that look at that. If you have a tube, the bulb emitting light all over the place, right? So 50% and probably more than 50% just going up. So you want a reflector to capture those light, let it reflect it down. So the reflector is very critical for any fluorescent bulb that are being used. But once you have a big fat tube, that means your reflector has to be pretty big. And you already, that is the major reason why T5 is the lighting choice for fluorescent bulb, is because it's so skinny. Then you can build a very tiny and small parabolic reflector on top. That's the reason why the T5 take over these days, is because you can make it more compact. Compact. And I also saw something called a T3. So skinny, a tiny. Oh, you never have VHO in UK? Huh, that may be an American thing. Huh, interesting. Wow. So I saw those T3, that even tinier, skinnier tube. But there's a one big problem of that. If you look at it, it broke.
Snap. Well, that's the worst thing about the T5s. When you've had them in for a while, you get a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, salt creep, or they oxidize a little bit on the ends. And it can be a little, what I was saying this to Ron the other day, you are literally wincing. Is it going to snap? And
yes,
it's
the end cap just come off, or it shatter, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So next slide, please. Okay, then comes the metal halide. Well, the metal halide has been the king of lighting back then. So I still remember that back in 2004, that was the year I started the hobby. At that time, the local reef club still have the in-person gathering every month. So every month we go to some place and some restaurant. I trash the restaurant with salt water and have some fun, right? So I remember that I went to the first meeting. The guy told me, some guy said, I got metal halide, man. I got metal halide. I said, okay. And back then, the metal halide is the king of the lighting and also quite expensive. If you think about the Radion is expensive today, you should look at 20 years ago, how much it cost for a German fixture of a metal halide. That's going to cost you arm and legs. So like an aquamatic fixture cost you about $1,200 US dollar back then. 20 years ago, that $1,200 US dollar is more than $2,000 today, probably even more.
But even more recently, I mean, you've been doing it a hell of a lot longer than me. But when I was looking at T5 fixtures before the whole electricity and T5s are, is the bulb going to be manufactured? Can you get it? Way before that, That was similar sort of pricing to a T5 unit, brand new, was similar sort of prices, especially the ATI stuff.
Yeah. Actually, if you want to buy a brand new ATI today, it still costs you arm and legs.
Yeah.
It still, So the metal halide, here's an interesting story about the history. So at the beginning, when the pioneers of the reefing hobby, they look at the metal halide because it's something that put out insane amount of light at a dot, at a small form factor. At that time, the people looking at the metal halide, most metal halide available on the market are those pretty yellow one for growing plants. So it's too yellow for put on the top of coral. So back then, there's one of the ball is called a sunburst. It labeled itself as a 12K color temperature, sort of on the blue side. So that was the choice before radium actually coming out, being introduced in the US. I have no idea why radium want to make a blue metal halide. I cannot find any history about that, but they make it. So for matter of fact, the famous radium 20K metal halide was not labeled as a 20K. It was just labeled radium B. B stands for blue. The 20K is a name that given by reefers.
Right.
Yeah, the reefers give them the name 20K. So, and then this guy called Steve Tyree. So I don't know how many people actually are familiar with Steve Tyree in UK, but in US, in the reefing history, Steve Tyree is one of the famous person. So he started to use the radium blue, aka the radium 20K, on his reef tank. Voila! And
is that the next slide by any chance?
Let's see what the next slide has.
Oh no!
Actually, that's not by Steve Tyree. So he does not have a tank like that. Actually, can you go back to that slide? So this is actually a photo courtesy of the Simplicity Aquatic. So this is a tank that only light by the 20K radium metal halide. So no supplement. Nothing, just a metal halide themselves with gigantic reflector. Actually, the gigantic reflector will utilize a metal halide ball at its full potential.
Just a quick question, Dong. There's a question here from Terry saying, doesn't the K relate to wavelength?
Pardon? The wavelength for the 20K?
Yes. Doesn't the K K relate to wavelength? Is that what the K means?
No, the K means the color temperature.
Color temperature.
Yeah, so the bigger the number is bluer. So, for example, a 6500K means a more yellow and white light coming from the ball. So the Kelvin rating is that the bigger the number, the bluer the spectrum that the light put out. So that's simply like that. So of course that all this 20K, 14K rating is really artificial. Each different company, lighting company, they will rate their ball differently, and even you can compare two 20K metal halide from different manufacturer. The color is different, so just take it as a grain of salt. But in general, only means the bigger the number, the bluer the ball is. So under metal halide, this is really a reef tank to die for. Alongside with your electricity bill, when your wife see your electricity bill, you're probably in trouble. So that's one of the big drawback of the metal halide. Yes, you grow coral like crazy. It's capable of give you wonderful, beautiful coloration. So the LED is not the most colorful light. The metal halide is capable of give you something beautiful. So, but it has its own drawback. The heat, the electricity usage, something like that. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, then T5 alongside with the metal halide, it become very popular, and thanks to ATI. ATI is the king of T5. There's so many T5 company that make reefing T5 for this hobby come and go in this hobby. But today, there's only one. Actually, Giesman also, I don't think that we can buy Giesman T5 in US anymore. That exit the market already. The only T5 fixture that is good and also readily available for the hobbyist is the ATI T5. The ATI T5 is legendary.
I
And
agree.
of course, yeah. And right now with their legendary, the new legend of the Stratton. So I'm not sponsored by ATI. I just ATI user.
He'll be wearing his ATI underpants, I'm sure, for bed. Can I just ask you a quick question on the ATI
Yeah,
thing?
go ahead.
You're talking about best sort of fixture. From my limited experience with them over the years, I've come into contact with different brands or different manufacturers of T5 lighting and T8. And quite on a number of occasions, especially with second-hand equipment, you'll tend to find that people have supplemented or replaced the bulbs for a different brand of bulb. And also you will then also find a cheaper unit that people have bought, but then supplemented them with an ATI bulb. So my question to you is with ATI, is it the fixture or is it the bulb? And how important is... Right, okay. You answered my question.
So there is a secret, not so... it's not really a secret. There is several key factors why ATI fixture combined with ATI or Giesman bulb will be your best choice. Thing number one, T5 bulb actually operate most efficient around 40-something degree Celsius. So you make a huge difference about the temperature the bulb run on. So ATI fixture, if you look into the fixture, they have these tiny holes right next to the socket. And then the fan is blowing air through those tiny holes.
Yeah.
And keep the bulb cool down at the correct temperature. Actually, that's one of the...
yeah,
go ahead.
I've got a surprise for you. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a surprise for you.
Okay.
You know how you've got a desk?
Yeah.
With lots of things on it.
Okay.
This wasn't planned at all.
Okay.
And I hope I don't drop this. And it isn't brand new, clearly.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is an ATI. that's an LED hybrid. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not in a box before anybody says anything. Yes, there you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Just sat here in the office.
That's a good light. So, what happened that to the ATI? The one of the major reason I like the dimmable version of the ATI fixture is because that it actively controlling the temperature. For the non-dimmable one, even though they can keep the temperature cool, but you never know what the temperature is. But for the dimmable, as well as the one you have, it will tell you what the temperature is. So normally the ATI fixture is set at 42 degrees Celsius of the inside the fixture. That will make the bulb run most efficient. Actually, the efficiency can up to like 20-30% difference. So that's actually a very important thing. So with that said, there's a little trick. When you install the ATI bulb into the fixture, make sure the one with the label is closer to the hole.
Okay. Never knew that.
There's a row of the only one side of the socket has hole next to it. So you want to install.
I'm looking now while you're saying that.
Yeah. Make sure you install the there's a reason for that. Yeah. Because on a T5 bulb, let me go grab a T5 real quick.
Oh, here we go. There's a few more people who've joined us this evening. I threw it up a little bit. How you doing, Melinda? Hope you're good. I do love the T5s. Cold Care Plus. Yes, like that combo as well.
Okay, I'm back. So this is a T5 bulb, and it's an ATI T5 bulb, and you can see that there's a logo here. So on your ATI fixture, there's a little blowholes, a rows of blowholes, and next to the socket. You want this part, the logo, on the side where the hole is. The reason for that is that when this ball lie up, this is the hottest point. That's the point that has the highest temperature, the ignition point. So by cooling this point, it's more effectively cooling the whole ball. That is one of the important things to install T5. So
Wow.
with that said, and the reflector of the T5 that inside the ATI fixture is fabulous. They're really good. So with all this combination, that make the ATI fixture really is the ideal T5 fixture. And also yeah, go ahead.
Corey's just asking, is the label side is the correct
label
side?
is the is the correct side. The label side is the correct side. That should next to those little holes that where the air comes in and blow on.
Yeah.
That's
hand on heart did not know that, and
then you should double check all your ball installation. That's very important. Wow. Another thing is that ATI ball and Giesman ball, and those are my favorites. Why is that? So Tom, so how often do you change your T5?
Well, we talked about this briefly the other day, and you absolutely blew my mind when you told me what you said. What you said, because I used to change them. If I'm honest, I used to change them every 6 months, and I didn't change. But hear me out. I didn't change them all at the same time. I used to change them in pairs because I was always taught not to shock your corals by changing them all all at the same time. With the thought process being behind, the intensity would be significant if you run them out. So by changing them, you potentially shock corals. So I used to change them in pairs. I used to literally get a piece of masking tape and write and pair them up, whether it was an 8 fixture or 6 fixture, and I used to change them in pairs every couple of months. And also, it didn't feel as expensive doing it like
that. So I changed my ball at least 18 months. That's 1.5 years. 1.5 years. Because I did the testing on ATI ball. Cannot speak for other manufacturer. ATI and both ATI and Giesman ball can last for at least 1.5 years.
Wow.
With very small degradation. And changing the ball earlier than that, you're wasting your money. So that's why I told my local reefer, if you want to change your ball every 6 months, give me the ball.
Yeah, give you the. But does the duration of the light not have an impact on the lifespan though? How long you run
10
it for?
hours. So I run them 10 hours a day. So if you run them like 8 hours a day, you can do the math. So you probably can run them longer. I've seen that the tank running T5 with 2 years with no ball change. That's just perfectly fine. And the spectrum is intensity. They're all good. Let's see, 9 ball for blue and 12 months for.
I think he means 9 months. Sorry.
9 months for blue. I don't think there's much difference between the blue and white. I don't see there's any difference at all. So I just changed them all at the same time. So I really don't know if there's any what's the reason behind the blue versus white. Just my personal opinion.
There's also a local reef to me who was an absolute legend. If anybody knows Bullen, who came to the barbecue not so long ago, Trout off Ultimate Reef. He's got an amazing Red Planet table in acro in his tank, and he runs T5 bulbs. And he was telling me a couple of years ago that when he changes his bulbs, it actually adjusts the height of the fixture. And he's got, like people measure their kids as they get older and they've got little notches. He's got notches on his wall or on this piece of.
Just drop them.
And he drops it at a certain interval over a period of time to kind of acclimatise his corals once he's changed his bulbs. But I suppose it's how extreme do you want to go? But I thought it was a good idea.
And also that the T5 ball is really not that expensive. That is one important thing. And another good thing is that T5 is not as hot as metal halide. And also light coverage plus the PAR is actually, and the efficiency is quite close to a LED light for reefing.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I've never really had much. I've had zero experience with metal halides. It's all been T5s and then LED. My sort of reefing history journey, whatever. But I came into contact with a T5 with a halide once that I turned on, and it's fair to say when I looked at it at very close proximity, I needed to go and see a doctor because I couldn't see. I couldn't believe how I felt like it had burnt my retinas out. It was so intense compared to a T5.
It is.
Compared to,
and it's a single dot.
That's what I'm saying. It was literally like, it's so intense. Yeah.
So try to imagine if you get your Straton or you get your Ecotech Radion and squeeze into a tiny dot.
Yeah.
That is a huge amount of light coming out from that dot. So that is why metal halide actually creating really beautiful shimmer, like in the ocean, line on the beach. So the glittering line on your inside your tank, because it's there's a very intense dot in the middle. So when the water starts to ripple at the surface, that's what casting all this beautiful shimmering line. So that's what people really like about the metal halide. And T5, of course, is so evenly spread out, you don't have that effect. But if you really want that, get a tiny castle.
Yeah.
Put it alongside with your T5, and you are not relying on that little castle for photosynthesis, but just for it to create that
aesthetic,
beautiful shimmer.
Yeah. There's a couple of questions in the audience, Dong. I did ask them if they want, if they've got anything for you to throw it up. Going back to, here he is, good old Tommy boy. Question for Dong. Evening, Dong. Where do you see the future of lighting going, and how long will it take us to get there?
Okay.
Good question.
Very good question. The future of lighting. Well, remember those fashion like there used to be those kind of jeans that with a flare at the bottom. Okay, back in the 60s, 70s, right? See, remember those? Okay, so in a fashion world,
I've just got a picture in my head of you with flares and platforms on and whatever else you were doing.
Wow. With a boombox on the shoulder, those kind of things. Fashion is always go in a big circle. And lighting also the same thing. So metal halide is getting more and more attention again these days.
Yes.
There is one thing about the future of lighting. Some people are saying that plasma light is the future of lighting. But I can tell you that plasma light has no future at all. It has been talking about that for the past 10 years.
Okay.
So we are not going to get into that. The plasma light, is full spectrum, but it's an extremely ugly full spectrum. I can tell you that. When you shine the plasma light on coral, you look like, So, and also it doesn't save your electricity. So basically, the future of lighting, I think the LED will be for average reefer. That if you want a beautiful tank at home, with a very stylish fixture on top. Basically, it's a decoration on in your living room. LED probably is the best choice.
I witnessed something recently, and again, there are so many variables when I make this statement, but I'm going to make it anyway. I was talking to Tim Wakefield Reef, who's another fellow reefer to me, and I was showing him some pictures. Now, I fragged a couple of Montes, and I know Coral knows a lot more. He was in the chat with White Corals in the farm. I fragged some Montes, and they were a Paloensis. They weren't a Capricornis, and I fragged them. And I originally put them in the sump tank with the Radion, the fake Radion from AliExpress.
The
A8, originally in there. But because of the spectrum, which we're probably going to talk about later on tonight's show, I started getting a lot of nuisance algae. And I talked to you earlier about me bottoming the phosphate out. Anyway, I decided to move them, and the only place I could put this tray was under the T5. Now, I know that might be a little bit crazy because the probably coral doesn't need that intensity, but I did it. And they were in there for probably about over a week. Bloody daddy long legs, excuse me. And they'd started literally within the space of 2 weeks. They've completely covered the frag plug, and I'm not exaggerating. Send Tim some pictures. I don't know whether it's the light or, like I said, there's so many different variables in this, but I've not witnessed anything like that ever. To be perfectly honest, there's a barley slimer that I fragged from a display tank. That they've got the coral cares on it, and I took a large piece off the colony, and then I cut the ends off to make sort of frags, sort of 1-2 inch frags. That has also completely healed within and got growth like nubbins or sprout shoots, whatever you want to call it, within 2 weeks, which for me is just absolutely incredible. And that light unit's 10 years old, probably older. And I've not changed. So those bulbs have been in it since however long I've had it.
The type of lighting actually definitely plays an important role. So PAR is not everything. Spectrum also very important. So I think the future of lighting will be a coexist of LED T5 and some metal halide. So LED will be will be here. LED won't go away. And LED
just variations, difference of variation.
Yeah, different variation LED. And for people who want to frag their coral, grow their coral, they probably use a lot of T5. And the die-hard reefer, and also the people who remember the flare genes, probably will go with metal halide.
Okay, fair enough. Another question that we had earlier. Sorry, Liam. Here you go. He's also asking why we're not using more plant grow lights in the hobby. I know the spectrum doesn't make the corals look pretty, but would it grow corals more naturally?
Excellent question.
So like a hydroponic fixture.
Yes, that has been people has looked into that over and over again throughout the year. It's kind of interesting. So if you use a more yellow hydroponic fixture, your coral grows really well. But it looks like do you guys see the South Park over in UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Mr. Hanky. Okay, so the coral looks horrible under those lights. So but you grow the coral well in terms of more naturally or not. If you mean the coral, the structure, Acropora will have a more natural fan out tree-like structure, that kind of thing. I do not think that's something to do with the Kelvin of the light. That means the color of the light. It's more to do with what the light source look like. So either it's a more spread out a panel versus a dot versus more laser beam, and that affect the shape of the coral more.
Okay. Thank you. Emma also had a question for you in the comments. Question for Dong. There are people out there that say that there are no full spectrum LED lights out there. Are they wrong, or are lights like the Straton actually not full spec?
Actually, I'm going to answer the question in the slides.
In the coming slides. Okay, so we'll get back to
in the coming slides. Yep.
In the coming slides.
That's a wonderful question, by the way.
Good. Right, moving on then.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Okay, move on. Okay. So this is from a photo I stole from Reef Central. Look at that. That's Able ATI T5 fixture. So you speak for itself. So we can go to the next slide because that we give ATI enough airtime. They should need to pay us for sponsorship. So then of course that at that time the ultimate lighting setup before LED come out to the market is always the metal halide plus VHO. Of course, that in UK, since you guys have no VHO, we're on the metal halide plus.
I only remember VHS. I don't remember VHO. But that was a video tape.
I remember A-Track and Betamax, something like that, right?
We are way too old, though. Anyway,
so this photo I stole from my good friend Keith Berkelhammer, Reef Bomb. So he's using 2 times 400 watt radium 20K metal halide plus 6 39 watt T5. So the T5 is, I think it's ATI T5. So I need to double check, but I believe that's what it is. So ATI should really give us some sponsorship. Just kidding. So yeah,
when you come back
yeah.
in a couple of weeks and you've got Strattons
Yeah.
behind you on that tank, then we know why.
That's a rebreather anyway. So yeah, I've been using that for since it before commercial available. So yeah, okay, but let's go to the next slide. Okay, a slideshow at the time. There's something called a power compact. So the reason is that the power compact actually plays an important role in this reefing hobby, because only the power compact you can have dual tone light. You can see this is you can have the blue on one side, white on the other side. So one bulb give you both color. The power compact show up around 2000, something like that. But then it went away because the whole lighting industry went away from power compact. The platform just gone. So this basically a power compact is just a T5 bent in half.
But two different colors, technically.
Oh yeah, it has two different colors. So that is something that's quite remarkable. That is why many of the nano reef tank has power compact light on the inside the hood, because that you can use one bulb and give you both color. Yep. Okay.
Learn something new every day. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Do you see that coming back then? You were talking about fashion, sorry, just before we quickly.
Oh yeah.
Do you think this is the kind of technology, even though it's old, that you might think somebody might pick it up and look at it? You don't. Okay.
I don't think so, because I don't think anybody is manufacturing that these days, because that people still manufacturing T5, still manufacturing metal halide, but I don't think anybody is manufacturing power compact. Okay. Oh, by the way, the power compact share the same ballast as T5. Yeah. Okay, now comes LED. So the LED revolution, it changed everything. So suddenly the electricity can be more expensive and we won't pull our teeth out, right? Because the electricity keep going up and up and up. But I replace all the light in the house by LED to save energy. Yeah, yes, LED is a big revolution. So here comes the first premium reef LED in 2007 by PFO Lighting. PFO Lighting actually is a very important company in US in terms of reef lighting, because PFO is one of the major manufacturers for metal halide fixture. Back then, you can see, oh, the PFO. And then they are the first pioneer to get a premium LED out. They call the Solaris. So you promise to use 40% less energy than your 400-watt metal halide 20K Radion. Okay. And then they said that the lifespan of this LED is approximately 13 years and above. That's a claim. And this is only produce only half the heat of the metal halide, and is dimmable independently by each channel. And it can give you sunrise, sunset, cloud cover, lunar cycle. Those are the things that people were dreaming about when people are in days with metal halide and T5. So ATI dimmable T5 can give you the sunrise, sunset, but the programming capacity is really limited. So I have the ATI dimmable. Yeah, it allows you to go, sunrise, sundown. But basically, that's it. How about thunderstorm? How about lunar cycle? How about cloud cover? Actually, at that time, there is an interesting thing in US is that when people have a gigantic big reef tank, when they have LED on top, they can program the LED to simulate a cloud coming over the tank. And the sunrise on one side of the tank and sunset on the other side of the tank. That used to be the fab.
Can you give us that? Can you give us that again, Don? Because I like the movement, the arm movement.
Oh, you mean the sunrise on one side of the tank and sunset on the other side? Well, actually, funny thing is that aqua illumination at the old days. When you have a group of the aqua illumination LED with the controller back then, you can do that. You can have a cloud coming out from one side to the other. So basically, you can see a shade coming out from one side to the other, like a cloud flies through.
But is there any real benefit to that?
Oh yeah, scare the shit out of your fish. That is the benefit. Well, think about thunderstorm. Thunderstorm used to be a key feature of LED. Seriously.
No, I can remember. I've had LED with a thunderstorm setting, and I remember my first ever Radion, which was a Gen 1, and it had disco mode on it as well.
Oh yeah. So you can dance around it. So right. Okay. Now let's go back to this PFO. So that is the first premium reef LED. Guess how much this thing cost?
What year was this? Oh, sorry, 2007.
2007.
Yeah. What size is it? Is this the equivalent of what you would say
for a 24-inch fixture?
Right. Okay.
How much it cost? Just take a guess.
$500. More. $1,000.
More.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they're about $2,400. But do not quote me this number. That's what I remember. Yes, about that range. And then a 48-inch fixture is about $5,000 to $5,000, something like that. Yes.
Oh.
With 2-channel, white and blue, and they're independently dimmable. Back then. Yes. Okay. Now next slide, please. Now our hobbies finally get the latest technology of LED. Everybody rejoice. Yeah, great. But then basically something hit the fan at that time. Yeah, the Mr. Hanky hit the fan.
Okay.
So basically brown stuff everywhere. Okay. There is a guy, there's a little company in US called Orbital Technology, short for Orbit Tech. And this Orbital Technology actually was a defense contractor. This little company was making all kinds of weird little things for the military, for the government, something like that. I think maybe like the $5,000 toilet seat and $20,000 hammer, that kind of thing. Wow. So they actually have a patent. For some bizarre reason out of nowhere, for companies absolutely not related to this hobby, they fire a US patent, have the patent number over there, and they patent the idea of use LED lighting system and message, especially for promoting growth in marine habitat. Oh my God, I don't know why they would do that at the time, but they filed this patent. Basically, it's limited focus on LED and reef aquarium for marine habitat. Maybe those are time traveler. I have no idea why somebody at that time would dream up something that crazy, right? Because that at that time there's no LED for reef tank at all. Maybe they're hobbyists. That could explain it, right? Maybe some of them are hobbyists. They foresee the future of some sort. Okay, they filed that patent. Yes, LED is here to stay. Yes, that's true. That's from the comment. Okay, now this Orbital Technology, they filed this little patent, but nobody actually pay attention to it. And they make themselves famous by in February 2009, they file a lawsuit against PFO, the company who make this first premium LED. And they basically is a strategy to basically wear you down, to basically hit you with all these fees and all that kind of lawsuit, all that kind of thing. So you eventually cause PFO to go out of the business in just 2 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just 2 months. But of course, in the reefing hobby, everybody is angry. What the heck? Out of nowhere. And also when you patent an LED light to use with marine organism, that patent is really broad. And that is something that should never granted. But the patent was granted. Of course, that the patent examiner maybe also hobbyist, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, okay. And after this uproar on the internet, so think about Facebook today. Back then, it's pretty small group, but already on that tiny internet, there is like a thunderstorm coming up about how ridiculous this thing is. So eventually, after several years, after all this effort from the reefing community, the patent was re-examined and tossed out by the
Oh,
U.S.
really?
Court of Appeal. Yes, that
Wow.
is why we still have, or we are able to have LED today for our reef tank, because that little lawsuit, that little patent is gone, being tossed out. So
You're like a
that's a
reef.
good
You're
thing.
like a reefing Bible, Don. Wow.
Oh no! Well, don't quote me on that. This is unofficial history of things.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, okay. Let's carry on. Okay, now the rest is the history LED takeover. Here, what we show here is actually a photo took by Jake Adams, the late legendary Jake Adams. He actually is sort of like a collector. Okay, in his rebuilder studio, he collected all this aqua illumination light LED in his rebuilder collector, the rebuilder studio. Then he lined them up. At 2015, he took a photo like this, show you how the evolution of LED design. You can see that on the very left is such a generic bar of LED with a lot of pucks.
Yep.
And then they make it more sexy and make it more modular. Yes, let's say modular. And now we come out with the AI soul, and then you can see the AI with a little baby on the middle, and that is for a nano tank. And go to the Vega, AI Hydra, and then Hydra 52, packing more and more LED chips on the same form factor, and all the way up to 2015, because he took the photo back then. I don't think what happened next is that he didn't continue to collect and take photo of that. But this is a photo quite interesting to demonstrate it, how the evolution about in 5 years, how the LED design was evolving, basically become more and more powerful, more and more power coming from a smaller and smaller platform. So if you look at it today, Hydra is 64 for the 4-puck version. That means there's 64 LED diode on it, and there I don't know what exactly how many diode they have on the latest Edge, because I haven't got a chance to play with that one yet. So basically, LED evolution is that more and more LED pack on a small fixture, because the idea is power, to generate more and more power. That is the idea. So let's carry on. Next one. And also, of course, we cannot ignore the one of the major player is the Radion. So on the left-hand side, you can see the Gen 1 Radion LED. On the right-hand side, you can see the Gen 6. The reason I put up this slide is that there is one interesting idea in a reef hobby, actually coming from metal halide. Remember, metal halide is a very intense dot in the middle.
Yeah.
And then people think metal halide is a point source light. That means it's coming from one dot. But in reality, it's not, because all the metal halide will come with a big reflector.
Yeah.
The reflector basically captures the light coming from all the direction and focus them down into the tank. So the bigger the reflector, the more effective more efficient that metal halide is. So for metal halide without reflector, actually is really poor. But then at that time, there is an interesting idea. The point source light seems to be really, really important for coral. That's what people think. And that is why on the first generation Radion, they try to group all this LED together, try to mimic a light source that is small. But of course, when we look back today, that is an absolute misconception. that misconception also created Castle. Castle is really make it so intense, one dot shining down there, and that make Castle the worst, in my personal opinion, is the worst LED, premium LED you can put on a SPS reef tank, because the shadow it cast. Back then, people did not think about the coverage, because the ATI Straton Philips Coral Care is all based on the idea about the coverage.
Yes.
To combat the shadow. Back then, people does not realize metal halide is really not a point source light. Let's mimic the metal halide. Let's make point source light for this coral. While the horticulture people, they never buy into this kind of bullshit. The horticulture people always big panels, spread out, because they get the most yield out of the product. But the reefing people, we are different. We are more advanced. We are smarter. We are higher level than the wheat growers, right? So point source light, yes, let's do point source light. That's where the Castle come from. That is a piece of crap for Castle.
So this is why you're preferring the T5, clearly.
Oh, absolutely. T5 is really the ultimate panel lighting. Okay.
Evening, Terrell. Hope you're good.
Yeah. Actually, one more thing is that after all these years for Radion to try and choose, guess what happened? What happened? Gen 6 Radion, going back to panel light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on. Okay. This is a reef breeder LED. One of my favorite LED. So that you can see the first generation of reef breeder LED on the left-hand side is basically, it's just a horticulture light. But with the blue LED, the spectrum for this hobby.
Yeah.
And then comes the very popular photon in the middle. I think in UK, Canada, they're called Evergrow. Evergrow.
Yeah, I own them, and the underrated light. The controllability needed working on, in my honest opinion. It wasn't the greatest. And if you had multiple units, you had to hide the remote controls from each other because they would program each other, which was a bit of a nightmare.
Absolutely, because one of the customers called me, so at dinner time, he said, my light is changing. I said, do you have a neighbor also a reefer? He said, yeah, right, the guy in the third floor. And I said, well, call him. Then he called me back. Yeah, the guy was programming his light on the third floor. So his light was following this. But that issue has been resolved by the Photon Pro with the Wi-Fi controller.
Okay.
And it's no longer an issue at the Meridian. That's the latest one. The panel lights on the far right. And that's a Meridian. You use the Wi-Fi. The program is very simple. And it's just as good as Mobius. Actually, I think it's better than Mobius. Better than Mobius in terms of stability. So in terms of how easy the program is, as easy as Mobius. And very soon that they're going to have Bluetooth control for the light too. So so you can see Rebreather has been stay as a panel light throughout the year. Yeah. That's one reason. Because Evergrow, the one that manufactured the light, is a horticulture lighting company.
Yes, yeah, I did know that. Because are they related at all to MaxiGrow? Do you know, by any chance?
I don't know about that one.
When I talked earlier about the T5 unit that I inherited, and it wasn't an ATI unit, but it had ATI bulbs in it. It was actually from a well-known aquatics shop that's still going today. I think actually they're showcasing at Aqua tomorrow, and they had literally on and off. The bulbs just went on and they just went off, and they were just a mixture of T5s. But it was a hydroponic. It was called MaxiGrow, and it was made for the hydroponic industry. And all you had to do was you had the reflectors, but all you had to do was change the bulb mixture to an ATI bulb.
Yeah. Yes. So many of the hydroponic refractor they works on a reef tank, but there's one important thing: they do not have the temperature control of the bulb, right?
Right.
Yeah. Because in order to control the temperature, the whole light fixture has to be encased. That's why there's this acrylic shield underneath the ATI fixture.
Yes.
That's why. Yeah, that's why.
I always thought that was to stop splash from the water. From
The two
tank.
things, yes, it stop the splash.
Like a splash
That's
guard.
one thing.
Yeah.
The splash guard, as well as allow the fixture to control the temperature inside.
I never knew that either.
Yeah, because if you
Wow.
remove that shield, and the temperature will not be controlled at all. You can't.
But psychology. But you would think common sense is that you remove that, it's more air's going to get to it in theory to cool
yes.
it. I would think.
But then when the ball gets too cool, it's less efficient.
So then it's
T5
got you. Yeah.
T5 ball has a very interesting narrow band of the optimum temperature for operation. So you're talking about maybe 10% to 25% of the light output difference. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Okay, let's go on. Let's move on. Okay, here's a bunch of the latest generation of the premium LED on the top of the Straton, and also another one. If you cannot afford the Straton, I think that the Allfix is a good panel light filled with LED. But Allfix is well, I'm not really a big fan of Allfix because of the build quality.
Well, funny you should say that. Sorry to put in again.
Yeah.
when I was looking at reef lighting on my old tank, the Orfex were the new thing. I think it was the version 2 or 1. They had the little box that you had to plug into it and into your laptop, I think, if I remember back then. But recently, I think what's been a big success for Orfex, because they have been a bit sort of quietened off a little bit in terms of sort of UK reefers using them, has been the supplement bars, the OR3 or OR1s, 2s, 3s,
OR3,
whatever.
OR4.
They're real OR4, and they're really popular.
I have them.
But I've had no end of issues with the OR2s and 3s with the Meanwell drivers dying. And without that, you can't use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, indeed. So that the Allfix in series is a very nicely designed light. In practice, I think the software need to be better, and also especially the build quality need to be better. Seriously. And also they use some kind of proprietary connector for the OR3 and OR4 bolt. Then you have to buy the freaking cable if you want to extend the cable. So the cable will cost me $100 to buy a cable. And
you're using more plugs if you're running the bars as well. More.
That is an entirely.
And then you have to have them on time. Then you have to have them on timers because they've got on and off on the cord or Wi-Fi plugs, whatever. So but I remember, Dong. Sorry, I remember Dong that Orfec though were having a big sort of. They had a big sort of spell of people talking about the importance of UV light, if I remember rightly. And Orfec was, from my experience, one of the first to sort of bring that on a hobbyist sort of platform that was accessible.
And Allfix probably have the best spectrum coverage from the UV side to the infrared side. They basically have this diode called a dual chip. Each LED chips has 2 core in it. The dual core LED, so they can cover more spectrum. So on paper, it's very impressive. In reality, the difference is probably not significant. Right. So that's what Allfix is. We're going too technical. And now we go to the piece of shit Castle. I think it's probably the worst design of premium LED light that ever exists in this hobby. But it has one good thing is to create shimmer. If you want the look of metal halide, and you can put a Castle on top, but then those glittering line is quite different from what metal halide can produce. For some reason, metal halide produce really pleasant shimmering line, just like you relax on the beach. The sun heat the water.
Are you wearing your flares? Are you wearing your flares?
Yeah. So what Castle produce is more like a torture chamber, on a psychological torture chamber, and flashing all this glittering on your eye, so you're going haywire, that kind of thing. So, and then next is the X4, the Delua. Is that how?
Delua? Yeah.
Delua. I think that they're pretty good light. So, but they're, of course, they're less popular right now. They're really not the major player in US yet. Let's see that they offer some lifetime warranty, and let's see how that plays out.
And if I'm not mistaken, Don, this is the one that you can take the actual lens cap off, isn't it? And you can change. I'm sure you can make some alterations with the actual what looks like a puck sort of light fitting.
Oh, I think so. I think so because that I have one of their really old fixture back so many, maybe more than a decade old. Well, Delua is a very old company. They call it Magic, something like that. So at that old fixture, you can change the individual LED dial. So that means that when the dial gets old, you can just plug and play and put another one in it. I think it's a very good design for that.
And a move from the X-Force to the Straton. Yeah.
Good move, man. Good move, lady. Yeah, because the X4, I think is less proven. That's the thing. And the one thing about X4 is, for some reason, they have like the Pixel, the little tiny individual pucks.
Yeah.
They come in different color by default for some reason. So I have a customer that have several pixels on his tank with different coloration, and the result is pretty weird. The color of the coral is pretty weird, hard to explain. So let's move on, and then you can see the big UFO in the middle. There
was a quick question from Intrinsic. Sorry, Don. Saying, evening Intrinsic. Bundy's a bit late. Did I miss Don calling one of the lights bullshit? So which one on the page is bullshit, Don?
The castle.
Can we hear you say it for the viewers at home?
Oh, I think that's a piece of crap. Wow, probably more civil. So I think that is a light designed by people that doesn't grow coral. This is absolutely pointless for this the little dots of light, because metal halide he tried to mimic does not work that way. So this is something I won't use. Personally, I will not use Castle at all. And also another problem is that the build quality of Castle is highly questionable, because that all this tiny dial was all crammed into a tiny little dot. Castle has a pattern. Okay, now remember that I'm interested in pattern. I like to read pattern. Castle tells you they have a pattern of that design. And guess what? The pattern is not for the LED design, it's for the fan on that fixture. Because that little dot generates so much intense heat at that tiny area, they need a more efficient fan to remove the heat in order to not burning out that light. The pattern is on the fan. But now, here's the problem. So when you have so many little dots all crammed into this little space, they do burn out. They even burn out within warranty period, and you do not notice that. If you have a Castle AP700 or AP900, they have two little puck on each side, and if you see the color does not match, one side may be whiter than the other side, or one side bluer than the other side, maybe some of the dial is already burned out, but you just cannot see it.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yep. Well, that's another thing is that I don't buy a used Castle, because you cannot tell if all the dials are in good health or not. So that is one of the major reasons. And the direct opposite of Castle is this Qantas light. That's the big UFO at the bottom, the second one from the left. That is Lucas Quanta light. That is basically a giant LED panel. Actually, I probably should sue Luca for patent infringement, even though I don't have a patent. Look at that. This is a circle, man. This is a circle. I should sue you. With a gazillion LED, it's a beautiful design. I can tell you that. This is what the LED is. Basically, think about it, it's like LED, like a Straton, but I arrange them in a circle.
Yeah.
The same idea. Many LED chip, put out very even lighting, cover a big area. Wonderful. Good work, Luca. And the Quanta light. Yep. Well, you're gonna receive my cease and desist letter very soon, even though I do not have a pattern. But it doesn't prevent me to send you one, right, Luca? But I'm gonna see Luca on the later live stream on Reef Bomb, and Luca is a great guy. So yeah, just having fun with that. Okay, now we come to the middle of that. That looks very interesting and weird light. That actually is the Max flagship.
Yeah.
Yep. That's their best. That's their top of the line lighting right now, called Infinite or something like that. Yes. Basically, I have their older version of it. Is modeled according to the Star Trek Enterprise. Yeah, the older model exactly look like Star Trek Enterprise, even with the command center on top. So so that's their mass specs flagship light right now. You can also see the design is many small LED, cover large area, give out even lighting. Same idea.
Yeah.
So yeah. So and then comes to the very famous the GHL what the GHL model is?
Mattress.
Matches. So their design, or if you flip it over, there are also groups of LED creating a panel light.
Yeah.
And also the GHL also have the UV region, a quite prominent UV lights over there. So that here's a story I can tell you that I just visited a friend. He has a beautiful 200 something gallon reef tank. Okay. About 2 years ago, he called me over there because his coral doesn't look right, the color, and doesn't also the growth is pathetic. So what he has is that's a Radion G5 on his tank, and the tank looks pretty pathetic. Okay, he no matter how he
walk on it. Did you say that to him? Did you say that to him?
Yeah, I told him. I said, "Well, change the light." That's what I suggested to him. But eventually, he changed to a group of GHL Mitra. So last week, or actually it's this week. Yeah, this week, Monday, I went to his house and looked at his coral. He is giving me a bunch of SPS colony to bring home. It's outgrowing his tank. And the color is phenomenal. Beautiful.
Wow.
And the growth is incredible. So think about it this way. That is a huge difference. And also the tank is pretty mature, even 2 years ago. So it's not a new tank syndrome.
Yeah. It's
just the light. It's just the light itself makes such a huge difference. And then the last but not the least is the reef 5. People have very good opinion about it. The reason I included there is because reef 5 has a very interesting thing. It has liquid cooling, according to what I know. It's a computer liquid cooler. And also for the half the price, you put out twice the light of a Radion. Wow. XR30. Yeah.
So, very quick question for you, Dong. Yeah. Sorry, from EOI Kuma, and I will again apologize if others have asked you a question. I will go back to it.
Oh yeah, I love questions.
Quick question for you, not related. It's about your fish sauce. So, EOI Kuma, evening. Hope you're good, mate. Happy Friday. He's asking, how much do I dose or do I feed directly?
Okay, yeah, that guy, right? The fish sauce. Nice. Okay. The idea about that one is right now 1 ml per 100 gallon. That means that 1 ml per 380 liter every day. That's the dosage I'm using right now. At the beginning, you can always dose a little bit more, but I use nitrate as the guidance. So if my nitrate goes above 10 ppm, I back off the sauce. So that is, I think it's pretty easy.
That's what I should do. That's what I should. I should back off the sauce. If my nitrate goes above 10
Not
ppm.
really. I think that sauce is better than fish sauce.
Oh dear. So there's your answer. Thanks for that, Dong. Sorry, staying on lighting for a second. Sorry.
No problem. I love questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Feel free. Okay. Let's move on. And the budget LED on the left-hand side is the night crew or Nikru or Nakru or whatever. That's available on Amazon and China. It actually has a pretty good spectrum. And in the middle one, I don't know if you ever see that one before. That's a J-Bows LED.
I think I saw it on AliExpress when I was looking
it's
at
made by
the copy Stratton. Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Oh no, that's not a copy of Stratton. You copy of nobody.
No, when I was looking for the copy Stratton, on AliExpress, I found that light and so many others as well.
Yeah, surprisingly, that thing is programmable, very cheap, and actually pretty good.
I love it how they pull you in though on AliExpress. The price is for the bracket, and when you press the drop down button and you click the light, the price just goes boom.
Same thing happened to Fish Street. Have you ever looked at the company called Fish Street? You said, "Oh yeah." Then I was looking for a pump. Is that $2? I said, "How the hell can that happen?" Then you put out, the $2 is for some kind of mounting bolt
for the plug.
Yeah, and then when you select the pump, oh my God, $100. So on the left, on the far right hand side of this slide is if you're broke, if you really really cannot afford the sauce, you have no money but you want a reef tank. Actually, the black box LED, it works. Of course, you cannot grow some fancy aquapora or something like that, but it works. It allow you to grow some Kenya tree, grow some Posenxenia, and some beautiful mushroom, and leather coral. Those work perfectly well. And normally they cost about what? 70 pounds, 80 pounds, 100 pounds, something like that. So, but they do grow coral. And if you have a fish-only tank, and you do not care about the lighting storm, you do not care about the moon phase for fish-only tank, that is the way to go. Buy a bunch of them and just cover the whole big tank for your fish-only tank. Yeah, why not? It's a waste of money to buy any premium LED if you have a fish-only, saltwater fish-only tank. Or if you really cannot afford the rent and you want a reef tank, that thing works perfectly fine. Yeah.
Shout out to Southeast Reefer. Thanks for joining us. But unfortunately, Dong, we're boring him, so he's going to go and watch Harry Potter with his wife instead of carrying on the show. But thanks for participating. Just kidding.
Harry Potter. That's important.
Harry Potter. That'll be good. So we've talked about budget LED. Next one.
Yeah. Next one is the power. That actually we roll back the history. Back 10 years ago. Okay. When LED come to the scene of reefing history, PAR is what people really care about. Actually, is what the LED manufacturer used to advertise.
To push marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing.
For example, if somebody walk into the fish store, they say, why should I pay that much money for this LED versus that LED? Then it's easier for that person to understand, this one put out more light. It has higher power. That's why you worth your money. And if you said, by the way, this one has better coverage. Huh? What? This one has better spectrum. What? But if you tell them, my lightsaber is stronger than your lightsaber, that is something people can understand. That is how the marketing can go through to regular customer. PAR. That's a measurement. Like horsepower. If you buy a car, say how many horsepower this guys get? 1,200 horsepower electric vehicle. So, cool. And how about this Honda Civic? 150 horsepower? What? Well, you drive perfectly fine, then you reach the 55 miles per hour. Perfectly fine. I still want the 1,200 horsepower. Yeah. And that's how you sell the cars, right? If you want a pickup truck, how many horsepower? That's a Hemi VA, put out 500 horsepower and 500 pounds-feet of torque. Yeah, that's the way to go. And you're not going to say, this is a Honda Ridgeline. How many horsepower? 240 horsepower. What? What? So, then that is a PAR is something that can relate it to the customer.
What I will
Easy to
say,
tell-
what I will say, sorry, on par with you saying that, you're right to do it because I've experienced it, and I have been that person that's been guilty of being influenced as well, and still am to a degree on certain things. But my sort of question to you on that is, it's okay having that, but like you said with a car, you could probably see how fast you're going to an extent with the speed, etc. But unless you're going to start measuring the PAR, do you really know what you're getting? Do you really know it is what this tell you it is?
That is an excellent question. Different company measure the PAR differently.
Exactly.
Some measure in the air. But think about this way. When a light hit the water surface, you lose 50% of the PAR, get reflected away from the water surface. The PAR value is really not a very good indicator for how good an LED light is. Actually, it probably is not something that the most important part that we're going to touch upon later on. The PAR and also too much PAR can kill your coral. Just like so many Lamborghini owners end up in a ditch, more than Honda Civic owner. You cannot control it.
Like the hare and the tortoise.
Yeah, and also in US, let's say how many Mustang V8 end up on a ditch? More. I actually physically see in the wintertime, I have some guy driving a Ford Mustang V8 in front of me, and the wheel just spinning. He was like that. So, yeah, you have the horsepower, but you need to know how to use it. And most likely, you don't need it. Why do you need 400 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque and a screw zone?
Yeah. But that's like saying you don't need 400 power for
you don't.
I don't know, mushrooms or like zoanthids or something, you know?
Yeah, unless you really want to go to zombie fighting a zombie with your PAR. Oh, vampire. If you want to fight vampire, maybe the PAR is important, right? So again, hey, Radion. Instead of giving you a garlic, Radion. Turn on by the way, turn on your castle. That little dot for the empire.
Oh, dear me.
The vampire killer.
Vampire killer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So move on. The next one. Okay. One important thing about LED is promise and deliver you the controllability. Finally, you can program individual light. Let me give you an individual channel. Let me give you one example. Remember AI Vega, Aqua Illumination Vega. That basically is almost the second generation LED programmable after AI Soul. AI Vega allows you, let me shut off this phone. Sorry, I don't know how to do it. It's an iPhone, too advanced. So forget it. Okay, here's the thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
Okay. Okay, right now, the AI Vega, you know what you can do? AI Vega is capable to program individual LED. There are 20 LED on that fixture, multiple different color, but like 4 white LED and then 4 blue at certain spectrum, and then 4 at different spectrum. That's something like that. Basically, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 LED. You are able to program individual of them, every single one of them. That's how much power control give it to you from the LED light. And then the hell just broke loose after that. And people holding the controller. Program. Oh, I like that. You want one more blue? I can do that. And the coral just goes, oh my God. It basically is Armageddon for coral. It's changing all the time. Either it's too blue, too white, too green, too red.
Yep.
And so once you have the LED the capacity to program, actually I think it's the hell day for coral. It's Armageddon day for coral. Seriously. So important thing, set your program of LED At certain point, when you're happy, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Otherwise, you should go back to T5.
Isn't there an argument, Dong, in terms of changing lighting that there's a bit of a, I suppose, a bit of a, not myth, but wise tale that your corals take a certain amount of time to adjust to changes? Is it up to 6 months?
Yes.
Like that?
Oh, no, not that fast.
Okay.
Actually, here's an interesting point about how coral adapted to change. Within a limit, that means within certain par limit, the coral actually quite adaptable for different light. Try to imagine this fact. In the morning, in the ocean, mostly orange light spectrum, right? So midday, mostly white spectrum with some blue, and go to sunset, the spectrum change again. So within the par limit, as long as you don't burn the coral to barbecue crisps, and you're changing your color, it's not really that bad because that the coral actually experience different color spectrum every day.
Throughout the day.
Morning, throughout the day, you change it. But the problem is that when you zap them with high power LED, the par, when you're talking about 500-600 par, easily coming out from the dial.
And that can be worse depending on the unit you're actually using as well, clearly.
Yes. That is another reason if you change your T5 bulb, doesn't matter because T5 is really mild. So the par level around 350, maybe 400 max. So you can change your bulb all day long. You probably won't damage the coral. But when you're programming this LED and suddenly give you 600 pars of blue and then the next minute go to 600 par of white, that is really stressful for coral. Wow. But within the limit, you can change color whatever you want because the coral experience that every day. Okay, we can move on from the Armageddon. Keep it simple in terms of LED programming. Sunrise, hold it right there for photo period, and sundown. Keep it very simple. That's the key. If you look on internet, there's all this crazy programming. For example, for AI, there's a jiggling line on top, all that kind of thing. Many of these things is not really needed, and not. While
you're saying that, so I think this is a really, really important. Not that everything you've covered already hasn't been important, and clearly some of the comments. Thank you for the support. To those of you that have complimented Dong's clear investment of time into this presentation and his knowledge. But this is something that I think is really important because most people watching tonight that have got these mobile apps, again, me included, will look at this and they won't necessarily know what each of these does. Can we have a bit of a brief sort of almost idiot's guide, as it were, to what we're looking at here? So I'm talking about the right hand, so that the typical dials of your different colours and your intensities. Yes, we know what they do by increasing, decreasing intensity, but what does each light do? How should somebody, if they were gonna go away after watching this, or they're doing it right now while we're talking, and look at what the current setup is, and if they wanted to change it, what would they, what does this tell people, and how should people read that?
Okay, so normally on average for most premium LED, they will have a UV channel, which is not UV at all. That's true. That's most
marketed as UV.
Marketing UV.
Yeah.
We should call it near UV because that they're around 405 to 400 nanometer. That's not UV at all. But for some of the GHL Mitra, it does go down below 400 nanometer. That is actually has some UVA in there. So what we can see, if you look at the graph, normally they arrange them from UV, purple, blue, and white over there. So for the so-called AB Plus program that marketed by Radion is basically telling you that low on white channel but heavy on blue channel. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So there's some, but the reason about, okay, let's do it this way. So there's a so-called UV channel. There is a royal blue and blue channel. But anything like violet and blue, you want them to about 3 times intensity over your white channel. So normally there are 2 kind of white channel available. Some fixture only have 1 kind of white channel. The white channel, normally I will set them at 1/3 of the other. So what they do is that the white channel actually very important. It gives you the so-called the full spectrum spread. And the blue channel, let's say the white channel is bread and butter.
Okay.
And then the blue channel is your filet mignon, is your salmon fish, and basically bulk up your nutrition. So for coral, actually the white channel responsible for quite a bit of photosynthesis. We will talk about it later when we look at actually what they look like. And the UV, violet, and blue channel basically is targeting 2 things. One thing is that to maximize the efficiency of the photosynthesis of coral, and also make the coral look pretty.
Yeah.
The white channel is like bread and butter. Doesn't. Oh yes, yeah. And then you make it so pretty, you have to wear orange glass. So, but many manufacturers will including default program like LPS, SPS. I found them to be quite useful.
Okay.
Just select a default program if you have SPS system, if LPS system. With that said, one investment is very important. It's called a par meter. If you are using LED, rent a par meter, because buying is pointless because you only use it once a while.
Yeah.
Or share a par meter, measuring your par, and that's the most important thing. Once your par is within range, we're going to talk about that soon. Then you can adjust this slider to make the tank look pleasant to your eyes. You want the tank to be bluer, you just move up the lever on the bluer side. You want the tank to be whiter, you can adjust the white channel. So simple as that.
So going back to what I said a second ago then, Don, so if somebody's got a light, or they're new into the hobby, or they've got a light and they're not sure what to do with it, look at what they've got in the tank. If it's got a preset, try and use that preset as a bit of a...
try to use a preset.
As a starting point. Yeah, okay.
Yep,
okay.
Yes. And most likely the preset is as good. Seriously. Yeah.
Okay. Right, moving on then. Thanks for that.
Moving on. Yeah. Okay, now we talk about the spectrum. Spectrum. And actually, we can see that all this debate on both sides of LED. Oh, LED is the best thing ever. Sliced bread. Depends on what kind of white bread or whole wheat bread, right?
Whole wheat
so,
bread.
And also LED is evil. It's a piece of crap. And then we need metal halide. Well, a lot of debate is all focused on the spectrum. Because for T5 and metal halide, for matter of fact, you do not need to worry about par. The par is happen to be quite suitable because you cannot the metal halide and T5, even you max them out, it won't burn the coral because that's how much light they can put out anyway. But LED, you can move the slider up, become laser cannons, boom, and kill your coral. Okay, so now is all the debate is surrounding spectrum. But let's look at this. Actually, this is the graph to answer one of the earlier questions about LED spectrum.
I'm trying to find it while you're talking. It was Emma that brought it up, if I remember rightly. Putting me on the spot. Where is it? Come on, Emma. So many comments in the chat. Go on, you start and I will throw it up. Sorry, Mo.
Okay, all right.
Don.
So the natural sunlight, you can see that on the graph on the left-hand side, very natural. From the UV side all the way go to the infrared, continuous spectrum put out by the sun. Okay. There is a purpose that there is no full spectrum LED right there. Okay. That question actually being asked is due to the middle graph. RGB LED. So here's a very important thing. I call it coral does not watch TV. So how human eye perceive color is a psychological phenomenon. For matter of fact, Tom, you see the color and the color I see can be dramatically different. Because in human eye, there's only 3 types of sensor: red, green, and blue. So our brain just interpreting the electrical signal sent by our eye and to psychologically come up with the white color when these 3 lights is almost equal intensity. So our brain creating millions of light perception is not really there. That's how the TV and a computer screen works. By using red, green, blue, vary their intensity to give us the perception, the psychological effect of what color is. Of course, that we are able to tell the actual color generated by the sunlight. Yeah, that's okay. But how TV work and how the early day of LED works is by manipulating the 3-channel, red, green, and blue, to create different kind of lighting color shine on the aquarium so that we can see, oh yeah, we want more blue, more white, that kind of thing. But it has no benefit to photosynthesis because the coral does not watch TV. The coral requires the actual spectrum, actual photon vibrating at that actual frequency to hit them to do photosynthesis. That is why in the early days, even today, with a lot of freshwater LED, they use the RGB technology. Those are absolutely not suitable for coral photosynthesis. They do not have the proper spectrum. They do not have the full spectrum. That is why this question being asked frequently, does LED has full spectrum? Is because of this kind of RGB LED being used in the early days. For matter of fact, let me one thing. I think the Pacific Sun, that is a brand still popular in Europe. Is that correct?
I used to have one, the Hyperion, if I remember rightly. That's what it's called. Which is the T5 LED
something like
Hyperon. That's it. Yeah, the T5 LED combo. Yeah. With a barley setting, which was actually quite nice.
Oh yeah, right. So one time they were claiming they don't have, they do not use white LED. They use RGB to simulate the LED spectrum. Guess what? The code that doesn't work on reef tank. And guess what? There is no market for them in US. Totally gone. Gone. People had enough. Wow. Okay. That is why RGB does not have the full spectrum required by coral photosynthesis. Also, another side note, the light is not just for photosynthesis. It also has other biological function to trigger on the coral itself. Yeah. Okay. Now, going back to the spectrum. Now we look at the right-hand side.
Yeah.
That spectrum is from a Creek LED full spectrum plant light, the white LED, very commonly used by major manufacturer of premium LED. Look at its spectrum. That's the white LED. It has a continuous, nice spectrum. Guess how they achieve that? That is not by combining hundreds of tiny LED at different wavelengths. No, they don't do it that way. They use a blue LED shining on a white phosphor. And the phosphor just disperse the light, become full spectrum. We call it T5.
T5.
It's the same technology as a T5. Only difference is that T5 use UV light to excite the phosphor coating. And white LED use blue light to excite the coating to generate a full spectrum light. That's what it is. And that tells you, well, T5 have a lifespan, right? Because the phosphor is going to degrade. Guess what? your white LED is degrading every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
Wow.
Same
Wow.
thing. And
Derek's got a
yeah.
question for you, Dong. Sorry. I was told some corals need more blue than others. Is that not correct?
That actually is correct. Coral does need the blue light is very fundamental for coral for photosynthesis because that's an evolution. That's how they adapted to. Because the many coral are living in a deeper area, so predominantly they see more blue light than white light.
Depending on where they are in the ocean, obviously.
Yeah, depending on where they are in the ocean.
Yeah.
So even the white light hit the ocean still have a huge amount of blue spectrum in there. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next slide.
Move on.
Okay. Now look at the ocean. Okay. So on the left hand side, that's LED spectrum. On the right hand side is a sunlight when they start to penetrate deeper in the ocean. So you can see the first line on the right hand side is 50 meter. If not all the coral, most of the coral are collected shallower than 50 meter. Guess what? Most of the coral are exposed to full spectrum light. That's why your white LED is important for photosynthesis and for the psychology, a biological function of the coral as a host itself. That is why your white LED is important. Full spectrum light. And also the blue spectrum basically are also important for the photosynthesis.
Because there was a point though, Dong. Sorry to interrupt you. There was a point that it was a toss off between who had a blue tank and run a white tank. So do you think that's changed now? Do you think it's a bit of a mixture?
Actually, if you run a blue tank, it actually will work.
Okay.
Because the algae synthesis will be satisfied with the blue tank.
That's interesting.
But what you're missing is the gradients of color. So your rainbow, your Oregon twerk going to look like Mr. Hanky.
Really?
Yes. Under the blue tank, your Oregon twerk be gray color.
Wow. Okay.
Because the blue color on Oregon twerk is not fluorescent. So there's two types of color protein.
Yeah.
One is called the chroma protein that is not fluorescent. The other type, the fluorescent, called the fluorescent protein. So coral has both. So many the red, orange, and blue, they are not fluorescent. So without the white light, you just don't see them. So the white light actually make your coral more colorful, not just fluorescent, just like shining in a disco nightclub. The nightclub color. Actually, the nightclub coloration attract beginners.
Yes.
When you go to local fish, oh yeah, shining bright.
Yeah.
But then when people become more mature into the hobby, they will start to appreciate richer color, the more gradient of color, orange, red. There's the coral become more full. The color is fuller, so richer. It's just not like a nightclub. For example, when you pick up a girl in a nightclub at the first day, oh yeah, great. When you walk out the next morning on a date, oh, I hate full spectrum lights. But I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about when I was in college. Yes, when I was in college, we went to a nightclub, and then the dance party and in the college, and then, oh yeah, and then the next day the daytime.
I love it. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Oh, evening Sam. Hope you're good.
Well, so on a date night, you can feel free to use your blue light. When you get a seasonal hobbyist,
so if you're going to the nightclub, you need to wear these. Yeah.
But if you want to get married, take off your orange glass and turn on the full spectrum light, man.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. So now people are asked this question a lot of times. Is LED a full spectrum light versus metal halide? Okay, I can ask the audience. On this slide, the right-hand side is a Radion 20K, the gold standard, the gospel of reef lighting.
Yeah.
Look at it. And on the left-hand side is the Orphic Icon 4 20K LED. I said that the Orphic has a good spectrum. Yeah, it does has good spectrum. You look at it. Question number one, yeah, is it full spectrum? Is as full as your Radium 20K metal halide. Right?
Yeah.
So that means that the argument of saying about LED is not full spectrum versus metal halide out of the window. They're the same. Second thing is that you can look at them, the proportional of the intensity. So heavy on blue side, both LED and metal halide heavy on blue side. That makes sense because that big hump is where the photosynthesis and also look pretty, all at the same region. And can we make LED more fuller spectrum than metal halide? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at the left hand side. The LED spectrum is much fuller than the metal halide spectrum. So spectrum at a modern LED is not a problem. Then people will ask, isn't LED like little laser? No, LED is not like little laser. Laser has a fix, very sharp. Like 440 nanometer is 440 nanometer. Woo, drill a hole on your desk. LED always has a shoulder. The shoulders overlap. And plus, the biggest, most important technology is the LED using T5 technology, the white LED using the blue light shining on phosphor coating to create the continuous full spectrum light. So the bottom line is that we can put the LED spectrum to the rest. So LED does have full spectrum. But if your argument say, okay, the LED doesn't have too much IR, but why do you want more heat radiate in your tank?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And talk about the UV. UV is a highly controversial thing. If you're according to the literature, scientific literature, only UV dust to coral is damaging the coral.
There's some debate on the UV side, though, when it comes to pests, though, isn't there, as well?
No, that doesn't work.
But there is conversation. People do talk about it, though, is what I'm saying.
Yes, that's the UV that can damage pests is UVB.
Okay.
When you can damage pests, it also kills your coral first.
Right. Okay.
Yep. So, and no LED fixture has UVB. On metal halide, the UVB is shielded by the glass. So metal halide bulb has a UV shield glass built into it, the single-ended one. For double-ended bulb, because the glass is so little, you need a UV shield in front of the double-ended metal halide. If that shield is broken, it happens so many times, your coral dies.
Right, okay.
No question asked. That has been demonstrated over and over again for decades. If your metal halide bulb UV shield broken, your coral die. Because the UVB kills your coral.
Right.
Let's see. What about red into 800 nanometer? I have heard that it's good for SPS. Okay. Actually, I was talking to Tom about that, about the infrared part, right?
Yeah.
And then that is because chlorophyll F being activated. There is something called a chlorophyll F. It's activating on that region. So that means that it supplements the photosynthesis.
Right.
But on the other hand, by how much? By a small amount. For example, that if you drink 1 pint of beer versus
I like this analogy. Go on.
Oh yeah, and your neighbor, actually, your buddy just can take a sip of it, of your beer, a sip. So will you feel that you have a much less beer to drink? Probably not, right? You still have probably still a full cups of beer. So that means that if you don't have the chlorophyll F, that region probably account for a couple percent of photosynthesis. You can do without it.
Yeah.
But if you have that, there's some benefit. Without that, perfectly fine.
Would you say it was noticeable benefit?
No, I don't think it's really that noticeable. Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, Allfix, again, back to that. Allfix is the first LED that have that near IR spectrum to try to shoot for the chlorophyll F. So that's why I said Allfix actually really take care of the spectrum.
Mm.
But in reality, most of the premium LED, including Coral Care and including the Straton, they don't have the chlorophyll F, that region. But your coral grow as fine, just as good, just as fast, perfectly fine. Mm. So something in theory, you can make you can add something to the table, but the effect is so small, it's not that important.
But again, it's something that would be marketed in this day and age in a way that could be the difference between somebody buying this unit and spending hundreds of pounds, dollars difference.
Yeah. So if it come in as free, I don't mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If I have to pay £100 more, hell no. Why?
No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next slide. Next slide. I think we already touched upon this. The coverage, and bad castle, bad doggy. So, and then comes the that's AI primes. So the cluster is slightly bigger. It's better. It casts a less shadow. And comes the Radion G6 or G5. After all this trial and error, ran a big circle from cluster LED, Radion become a panel LED. Okay, so it get even better. And now all the way go to Straton, take my money. Well, provided if I have the money.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah,
do you not think that ATI have been a little bit, I suppose, clever in they've kind of sat back, haven't they? They've watched the kids have a fight in the playground over who's number one or who's the best, fastest, whatever light fixture, and they've sat back with their obviously, legendary, like you've been saying, history with the T5 and gone, okay, let's leave them to it for a minute. Let's and when we come to the race, we're going to just blitz everybody by a country mile. Do you think that's fair to say that because haven't they? They've been quiet for so long. I think they have anyway, and they've literally come out, and that's all everybody's talking about at the minute in terms of lighting.
Yeah. So the benefit is all about even lighting with many LED diode coverage large area. So Neptune system, they come up with the sky.
Yeah.
Basically, they call it Philips Coral Care knockoff, that kind of thing. That's the right idea. Yeah, of course, now that sky is gone. So let's move on. Okay. Now, the other way to maximize your coverage, and it's pretty popular way to do it, either at T5 next to your LED fixture to expand the coverage, which can come out to be the best of both worlds. So you got the hybrid. Yeah, it's the hybrid fixture. Actually, I think hybrid fixture is really a nice way to solve the problem of the coverage, as well as you got the color from T5. Definitely, the color from T5 and LED is quite different. Seriously. So when you put a coral on a T5, because the spectrums are different, so a T5 a LED cannot actually absolutely mimicking what a T5 looks. So each kind of lighting have their unique looking. When you have an LED and T5 hybrid, you have the best of both worlds. Or you can have adding LED bar on the side of your LED fixture to maximize your
that's what I do. That's what
coverage.
I do with the coral cares. I've got some reef brights and some Orfec light bars for
exactly.
side. Yeah, that's what I do.
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Dong. Yazan Reef's saying one thing, Dong, forgot to ask. Evening, Yazan Reef. Thanks for joining us. Is how many of the Orfix you will need to use to cover your tank? You literally have to wrap your tank with it to cover an SPS tank.
Yes, that is the reason I'm using ATI T5 for my frag tank when it requires such a full coverage. If I use Orfix, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Orfix to cover a 4-feet tank.
That's crazy. And how much would that
basically
cost?
Oh my god, I don't want to go there. That's a lot. So basically you're piling your Orfix one next to each other to get a full coverage. One close to right next to each other. Or you can use Radion, one next to each other, cover your whole tank. And how much would that cost?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I end up with the T5. So okay. And then we go to the last slide. Actually take the joke from Star Wars, Attack of the Clone. And we talk about the cologne. So actually on the left hand side is a famous 88 SE, which is a Radion clone.
The one I've got.
The one you got.
With the dog shit
by
out.
the way, we talked about that quite a lot last week.
Yeah.
When I found out why you stuck on the Beijing time.
Oh, okay.
And yes, it's your router. It's your router's permission.
Is it? Okay.
Yes. I found out that people actually using this light, they have to dumb down the security of their router.
So they have the same problem then?
Yeah, same problem. So basically, the light require a less secure router to fully communicate, which is kind of scary, you know.
I know. Yeah. Is that telling me that they want to listen into what you don't want to listen into what goes on in my household? Trust me. But...
so you just stick with the Beijing time.
Wow,
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the right hand side is not a straton. That is called a K-rays, Cas-ray. Yeah.
Yes, I think it is a Cas-ray. Yeah. Yes.
It's a Cas-ray straton knockoff.
But they do market it as drilled aluminium, which I quite like.
But that I think that's probably true.
Probably
the drill,
true.
yeah.
Kelleray, yes. Thanks, Melinda.
Yeah, for the price they're asking.
Kelleray. There we go.
Okay. So that is that's what they marketed, and they look exactly like a straton. Of course, that I saw some reviews saying that the programming is not a straton.
No.
So yeah, the core, the software, hardware, this. But some people are quite happy about it because the money saved, and some people said that they compared to the real straton, they look identical. When they hang them on the tank. So, well, that is for cologne, it's more like ethical issue there. I don't think that straton has a pattern on the design. Nor as I'm absolutely sure Radion does not have a pattern on the Radion LED at all. So it's become an ethical issue if a company clone it.
Yeah.
But you do not get the software advantage as well as the warranty customer service that you get when you purchase the name brand stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Incidentally, though, before we went live, you were telling me that so we looked at the Kelleray, like as Melinda's correctly saying. We looked at this the other week, didn't we? And getting it to the UK was. Can you remember how much it was? Was it about 800?
I run £800.
£800, something like that.
Something £800. Yeah.
And then when you looked to the US for the exact same unit, it was how much?
Yep. It's less than $500 US.
Crazy.
With shipping.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. I think that in UK, you guys may already factor in the tariff. And I think that what on AliExpress, they don't count the tariff yet, right? So if 100% tariffs, that make it pretty much the same price. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So right now is that I'm really worried about ordering from on AliExpress. I just don't know how they handle the tariffs. Yeah.
There's
So
got to be a big saving, though, hasn't there, for you to risk it, especially brand new.
I don't know, because that this thing really need to see how long they last.
Yeah. So basically, we're waiting for somebody else to do it, and then if
Wait
it's
for
any
somebody
good,
else to do it. Yeah. And for example, the Radion cologne has been around for a long time.
Mm.
So people has used that for a while, and it's pretty robust.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, guess what? I found that cologne on Amazon now.
Oh, really?
On US Amazon Prime.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just saw guess what? I saw the J-Bao MP40 cologne also show up on Amazon now.
And what's the delivery time frame on it? With it
No,
being on
that
Amazon?
should be the delivery time. I think they ship inside US.
That's what I'm saying. So it's
Pretty
inside
quick.
US, so you can pretty much get it. Well, not same day, but you could get it same week.
Not
least.
same day, maybe a week or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's pretty good.
And of course, there's no tariffs on it. When
it's
you buy
already
from
in.
Amazon.
You've already got it.
Yeah, you're already in. Yeah, already got it. So both of them are actually available. But Stratton cologne, I don't see that on Amazon yet. So that is I think is relatively new. We will see that how long they last, how they stand up for the quality, right? And the other thing is that the body, to make the aluminum body, is not that difficult. But what quality of the LED diode they put in, that's the
important bit, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the important thing. And to see that, and also just like the Radion cologne, I'm not sure they're using the same diode either. So because that, for example, if you talk about, let's say, an LED manufacturer said, we use bridge lux diodes, it doesn't, it can mean they bought the diode from Bridge Lux, officially produced Bridge Lux diode, okay? Or they can mean that the diode was manufactured according to the license from Bridge Lux.
All right, okay.
Yes, then you still can label your chips as Bridge Lux diode.
A bit like my, in a roundabout fashion, my Red Dragon pumps that weren't.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. So subject. Okay. Have we finished with this presentation for now?
Yeah, we're done with the presentation, and we can answer some questions.
Dong, thank you ever so much for putting that together. That was amazing.
No problem.
I know that people watching at home have definitely appreciated that. There were a couple of questions that I'd got, or a couple of topics that I wanted to throw in. If you remember, we were talking about earlier. And please, to those of you, 50 odd of you that are still watching us, thanks for tuning in this Friday night. And if you've got anything you ask Dong, even if it's not lighting related, feel free to throw it in the comments section. What I'd got for you that I want to talk to you about for a minute was there seems to be, and Sam Parker was in the comments earlier, and so was Mo still here as well. So we were talking not so long ago on a Sunday stream about nutrient levels, and I was pretty shocked at these two were sort of saying, 0.3, 0.4, and I'm like, really? And these are, SPS, gurus or well-known reefers, as we know. Sam Parker's not a guru, Mo is, just joking. Talk to me about lighting and nutrients, because it's something that I think people have started to talk about and understand and probably see the benefits of more now in the hobby. What's your take on it?
So the lighting and the nutrient level actually is quite important in reef tank, because in the ocean, even though the nutrient level is extremely low, but that is a limit amount of the low nutrient level. But in our tank, the nutrient level is basically pretty limited, and it fluctuates as well. So the general rule of thumb, just from experience of growing coral, is that when you have a higher lighting level, and you should give them a higher nutrient level. The reason, there's some explanation about that, is according to some of the scientific paper, is based on your algae. So the algae, the symbiosis algae is living inside the coral. That means all the nutrition, nitrogen, phosphor, and carbon that the algae require to do photosynthesis and to grow are coming from the coral inside the environment of the coral. Okay, so when you have a higher lighting level, of course the light is directly hitting the algae. It's not like the photon will be hang to your coral and then hang to your algae. No, the photon is go straight to the algae. So when the algae get more light, so it's more activated, that they do more photosynthesis. That means the algae will require more nutrition, more carbon, more nitrogen, more phosphor. Where this come from? It come from the coral host. Basically, it's wrapping the coral when the algae is require nutrient. So and your coral is getting the nutrient from feeding as well as from the water column. So that's what also that means that when you increase your light intensity, you probably should feed your coral more. So basically, the idea is to allow the coral be able to get more nutrient themselves, so they will have sufficient amount of thing to share to the algae.
Yeah.
The algae will grow regardlessly of the host. So they will just take it. So it turns out it can cause the coral to malnutrition.
So you need to have enough food on the table for everybody, basically.
Yep. So when there's not enough food, the algae eat it first.
Yeah.
Then your coral gonna malnutrition.
Yeah.
Because remember, coral not only take the nutrient generated from the photosynthesis by the algae, they also take in nutrition for themselves to grow. The photosynthesis is just a little buddy, sit there and give me some extra, that kind of thing. So what happens when you increase the light but your nutrient is poor? That means that the algae will rob the host a lot of carbon. They rob the host. So the host what the host will do is how to deal with overactive algae. Oh, I'm already starving for nutrient, and now you're robbing me. They expel the algae. After they expel the algae, what you see on the coral, bleaching.
Paling, yeah.
Yeah, paling, bleaching. That's what it is. So if you increase the light, you should increase feeding, increase your nutrient level in the water to a certain extent. Of course, you're gonna say, I give you 8 ppm of phosphate. No, that's but you just don't want 0. So you need to maintain certain amount of the phosphate and nitrogen. And of course, that is according to some study showing that the corals are more easier to take in nitrogen than phosphor. Well, at least that's what some of the papers said. But some other paper also indicating that the coral reef stress could be due to lack of phosphate.
Wow.
Because the algae taking up too much phosphate. So that means that when you increase your light level, it will be better to increase your feeding of the coral, increase your nutrient level.
Derek Gibbs is saying, so you're saying feed more than you should have less algae?
Well, it all depends. Depends on what you feed and what you feed. So if you feed the commercial frozen food, we'll probably end up with more algae than coral. So think about it. In a reef tank, everything is a competition. Everything is a balance, and it's a black box. Seriously, we really don't know how to feed certain food to prefer to benefit the coral but not the algae. And this is still an art. So it's not really very clear cut kind of thing. That is why when the skill of a reefer comes in is how you feed, how often do you feed, what kind of nutrition level you keep. And it's good to experiment a little bit. So try different kind of food, try different kind of nutrient level, and adjust your lighting a little bit.
Well, I was just going to say, if you are going to plan on increasing your lighting, check your nutrient levels first, perhaps.
Yeah, you definitely check your nutrient level when you increase your lighting. But any dramatic increase of lighting is not recommended, because the coral really doesn't need that much light. And what's the reason to dramatically increase the light? There are not a lot of good reason, because the one example is that a guy told me, I need to see the breeding color of my Walt Disney Acro. So I increased the light to 700 part, because I heard that with those kind of high part, that the coral will squeeze the last ounce of the coloration of the coral. So then I asked him, what did you get? The rest of the coral burned to death.
Wow.
So that is normal average par level, seriously, for Acropora. So scientific literature says Acropora par level is from 75 to 450. It's a huge range.
Yeah.
Basically, activation is around 75. More than 75 is the photosynthesis activated. It's about the duration of the photo period, that kind of thing. So I found out that for setting your tank, because you cannot individually set the top, middle, and bottom, only one setting. So you set the middle, you cannot change the top and bottom. So normally what I will do, I set the middle around 300 to 350, where the coral is. So 300 to 350, it seems like work for most of the coral. So that is everybody's happy. Everybody has a.
It's like what we're saying about that water parameters, just a range, you know.
It's just a range.
Just a range.
And also some guy asked me, oh, my par is a 345. Should I set it to 355? I said no. It makes no difference at all.
No difference. Well, yeah.
No difference. And remember, one important thing is that corals are highly adaptable. So if you set your par at that coral, 300, the coral will adapt it to that.
Yeah.
At 250, the coral will adapt it to that. And it makes no difference if the coral getting 300 or 250. But it will make a huge difference if your coral getting 250 versus 750.
Yeah.
750 basically put the coral in a frying pan and cook it. And some people tell you, oh, in order to squeeze this home wrecker color, oh, this beautiful color,
you need blast it with light.
Blast it with light. Actually, many times, many times what happened, that guy has a malfunction parameter.
Oh, really?
Yes. If you're really hitting that coral with that much par, most likely you're going to kill it. But some of the Acropora definitely takes a lot of par. But really not for 10 years. On the other hand, one important thing I think that we touched upon a while back is about soft coral.
Yes, you were telling me this, and I was telling somebody in a shop not so long ago, and I was trying to explain it. But if you don't mind repeating it for the benefit of those watching,
soft coral and zoensis actually love high par. The reason for that is also anemone as well. Anemone, soft coral, and zoensis, they're really thriving under high par. Actually, they're located in pretty shallower water. They got hit by zapped by like 1,000 par, 1,200 par, that kind of thing. Recordia also actually in pretty shallow area, they get like 1,000 par easily. So soft coral can tolerate low light. They can tolerate. They can stay alive under low light. But it doesn't mean they are happy under low light. And under higher par level, you will see your soft coral just so beautiful, so open, expanded, and grows like nuts. And then you have to yank them out because they grow so fast. One example is this famous yellow Fiji ladder.
Yeah.
The yellow Fiji ladder actually is, if you put him in a lower par area, for example, like 100, it looked like Mr. Hanky on South Park. Seriously. with a very crappy color, brownish green. But try to hit it about 800 par. Brilliant yellow.
Wow.
With tentacle coming out and open up. So a friend of mine gave me one piece of the yellow Fiji leather. And he even thought that piece of leather, somebody just gave him the wrong leather. Because that one is basically brownish green, sitting at a low par area.
Yeah.
I put him under LED, turn on all the specs, all the channels. 180 watt LED. Well, it's not Radion, but yes, it's an old rebreather type of LED. So I turn on every single channel, 100%, including the white channel, 100%. It's approximately 800 par at that yellow Fiji leather. Within a week, brilliant bright yellow, and very happy, open very fully. The size is like double the original size.
Wow.
Happily basking under the brilliant high part. Yeah, that is
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I took a photo and sent it to my friend. My friend, oh, yeah, that's yeah, he got a good home. the Fiji yellow Fiji leather. Yeah, that is one thing. And many people tell me that the yellow Fiji leather doesn't look like the bright yellow in a photo. And one guy even called me up and said the vendor may send him a wrong one because he pulled a brown turd out of that bag and put it in his tank. It still remained brown for a while. I said, move him up to the top of the tank, blast him with tons of par. And, well, then he was happy later on. I said, oh, yeah, that's really a yellow Fiji leather.
Wow.
It's so beautiful. It takes huge amount of par. And by the way, there's a leather can take a large amount of par without going to the photo saturation. That means photo saturation means that too much light and then start breaking down your photosynthesis machine. Yeah. So leather, you can freely blast it with lots of par. That's why leather coral and soft coral is so easy to keep. It really doesn't matter, right? You stay alive when you have not very little light, and if you're accidentally shining with 1,000 watt LED, even better. They love it. So, yeah, try to increase the par on your leather tank, and you'll be surprised. Yeah.
You heard it here. Other question I got for you, that topic I wanted to just touch on with regards to lighting is positioning. So obviously, somebody goes out to an LFS or new tank, upgrade, whatever, buys a lighting fixture. What's your advice on somebody hanging it, mounting it? How many crossover?
Okay.
How big a tank? How many units? And I know that's going to depend on the manufacturer, to an extent, but what would be a normal train of thought?
Ideally, when money is not an issue, you want to use whatever LED you're buying to cover the whole tank area.
Blanket
coverage, and then set the LED at a lower intensity because you have so many units. So it's very easy to get high par in that tank. So your LED runs cooler because you only run them like 50-40%, right? So it prolong the life of the LED, and you get a blanket coverage. That is the ideal situation when money is not an issue. When you're not Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, but I don't know if they have a free thing or not. And then you have to think about to buy an LED fixture to give you as large coverage as possible. So one of my friends, what he does when he's shopping for LED is measure the LED fixture, not the manufacturer recommended coverage. That data is a piece of crap. Those are advertisement. Wipe it off the face. No, don't rely on that. Measure your LED panel.
Yeah.
Where the dial actually light up your tank. Measure it, and then measure the coverage and divide it by and you get a total cost to fully light up that tank. How much it costs, and then get another manufacturer do the same thing, and all the premium LED manufacturer, the light basically can do a good job. It's all about how many units, how many you buy. So basically, it's all about the money. So trying to cover it as much as possible. For example, if I find out I need to spend $2,000 to cover my tank using brand A, and $3,000 cover the same area with brand B, and then just go for the cheaper one. It's all about the cost and benefit. Ideally, the coverage is the most important thing, especially for aquapora. The coverage for aquapora is the most important thing for the light coverage. But if you're talking about zoensis or green star polyp, those things that is flat, doesn't have a problem of shadowing, and you can go with the manufacturer recommended coverage and hang 2 castle there. It works because there's no shadow, they're flat. So that's a different story. But once you're building up the rock structure, and the rock will cast a shadow, and then you have to resync your lighting again. So assuming for a mixed reef, LPS plus SPS, always the calculate what is the most money-wise, the most efficient way to cover the tank with a blanket of light. Then, and that's the decision how you choose to hang your light. And one interesting thing is that people say, well, what happens if I hang my light higher? You get more coverage, but also the intensity will drop so significantly. You can do that. You can get a light, hang it really high to measure your par, to see if you still have the same par. Yeah, it's most likely that when you hang the fixture really high, it's just not enough par to sustain the coral.
You touched on it a minute. You touched on it briefly a second ago in terms of rockscape. Where does lighting and rockscape is that important to sort of consider when you're looking at putting especially a new tank? Maybe someone's going out getting a rockscape, getting lighting.
So when you build a rockscape, you really need to consider the shadow that the rock casts by your light. For example, if you have overhanging, just like the one behind you.
The one
behind you, behind you, there's a rockscape like this, and then a beautiful rockscape. This is a wonderful job, and try to put a castle on it, and you will be shocked how horrible it looks. And many coral will cast a shadow, and then actually the shadow cast by LED actually responsible for many aquapora or SPS, the STN, the slow tissue necrosis. That's because of the shadow. So that is why if you have a mixed reef, especially you have interesting aquascape, you have overhang, you have a floating aquascape, you really want a blanket light coverage on top. Blanket light. And also that allow you to add more coral in the future. If you use more spotlight, and you will find out, oh, shadow here, I cannot put coral. Oh, shadow there, I cannot put coral. Then you're heavily limited. How much coral? Then you probably have to go to NPS, right? Non-photosynthesis coral.
Linda's got a good question here regarding light. If you don't, what about tanks with black bottoms or black sand and light not reflecting back up the underside of the coral? Any thoughts on that?
That make it even more important to have the blanket light on top. Because the white sand does reflect light from the bottom. That mitigates some of the shadowing. If you have a black sand, you really need to resync your lighting. You want the light physically coming down, raining down from all directions. So to eliminate shadow. So the position of the lighting fixture, I think that is all depends on you can mix and match and to see that how the shadow play around. Basically, when you're hanging LED light, look at the shadow to see how if the shadow actually when you hang them there, you see, oh, there's a shadow over there, and I have no plan to put a coral there. I want to build a cave for my fish to slip in. Fine, but so instead of looking at a rock, look at the shadow it casts at the bottom. That's how you know that in the future where you can add coral, where you cannot add coral. So that's the position of the light. So from hanging, I always like people to hang the fixture, because that you can turn up the power but hang them higher. When you use the arm, it's pretty limited. But I think in Europe that you guys have mostly just hang the fixture.
Yeah, depends on I suppose the actual product, but yeah, most people can. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so I think that the coloring actually quite important. Of course, that you always have an option to add T5 and LED bar. But when you look at that option, you need to look at your original light, LED light of choice, if they be able to hang the LED bar or not.
I also think you need to look at things like bracing as well in the tank.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That can have an effect as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, we've got some conscious. We've nicked you for 2.5 hours so far on a Friday afternoon. One of the questions that we've kind of talked about this evening. So par then and measuring it and testing it.
Okay.
How often do you think people should be testing par in a tank?
Depends on what light you're using.
Okay.
If you're using a T5 and you were going to change the ball every 1.5 years,
yeah.
Why do you want to test the par, right? Every 1.5 year, the whole fixture become brand new. So another thing is that let's say, if I want to run my T5 ball 2.5 years, yeah, then you can test your par and lower the fixture.
Yeah,
that's
true.
an option. Yeah. And if you use LED, of course, that you need to test the par initially. Make sure that you don't actually end up an inferno of light inside your tank and burn everything to crisp. And then for brand new LED light, I will probably measure the par after 1 year for the degradation. And then after that, maybe every 2 years. So you will expect your light fixture maybe last for like 5 years. Yeah.
So definitely worth renting one, like you said earlier, or borrowing one if you're part of a club.
Borrow one, share with your friend.
Yeah.
And especially many vendors, like in US, and you can actually rent a par meter.
Yeah, people here that do the same thing. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. You kind of just mentioned it then, Dong. Last one I'd got for you was the lifespan of a lighting fixture. How long do you think people should give it? Did you say 3 years then? Sorry?
For LED light, maybe every 5 years. Yeah. And most likely you're going to squeeze more. But depend on the brand though.
Yeah, of course it
does. Actually, it depends on how effective the manufacturer designed the LED to remove heat from the LED dial. The heat is the most important thing. For example, for a rebreather fixture, and I have one that is installed at 2018, 7 years, no significant power lost. That is because the fixture has a gigantic aluminum heatsink. And they're also running a 48-volt power supply, which means that the less current going through the LED dial runs cooler. When the LED runs cooler, it lasts a lot longer. And I also see that some other name brand LED light, they lost 40% of the intensity in 1 year. It highly depends on the brand. So there is a rule of thumb, though. When you look at the LED light, LED fixture, if the body is aluminum, most likely that that fixture can last much longer. The fan is not a very effective way to remove heat from the LED. Seriously, the fan is not that good. It's the body. The body, many LED fixture made out of solid aluminum. That is a gigantic heat sink.
Yeah.
Yep. Use a plastic body relying on a fan to blow on the circuit board. You know what I'm talking about. That is really not the best way to cool the LED down.
Yeah.
And there's another thing is that the larger the LED, the panel, is more effectively to remove the heat.
Dissipate the heat.
Dissipate the heat, yes.
Definitely.
That is why the Straton doesn't require a fan.
Definitely.
Yep.
One last question, I think, before we look at wrapping up this evening. James Milet's asking question: LED par versus T5 par. I see a difference between the two.
That is interesting. Actually, that's a very interesting question. Remember that the par meter company, they manufacture par meter that designed for LED light. I can tell them absolutely bullshit. A photon is a photon. regardless it generates from metal halide, from LED, or from T5. A photon is a photon. The sun, same way. All it matters is about the frequency of that photon and how many photons you generate. The frequency of the photon is a spectrum. Is what a color, what that photon gonna hit, the color spectrum, and then amount of photon is par, right? So and regardless, the light source is LED, T5, TA, plasma, your flashlight, your smartphone, your grandmother's old Dutch oven. They're all the same.
Yeah.
There is no LED special par. Par is a par. A photon is a photon. And all the other thing, marketing.
Well,
they want you to buy a new par meter. Oh, by the way, talk about the par meter. Guess what? There is, when people doing the par meter test, there is a par meter called the Lee-Core par meter. Cost you $4,000 to $5,000. That's an industrial standard. Yes. And there is Apogee 200 series par meter. That is the older school par meter. The so-called not as accurate for LED. And then comes the double the price for Apogee 500 series meter. Designed for LED. When these two
That's the one I bought. That's the one I bought. That's the one I bought. The blue one, the 510.
People did test in the laboratory against the $4,000 Lee-Core par meter. The par meter, the 200 series, is more accurate than the so-called LED tuned par meter. It's a marketing scheme.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Basically, another type of bullshit to grab your money. That's what it is. Yeah. Seriously. So, a par is a par, a photon is a photon. As long as two photons have same frequency, they are the same wavelength. And they hit your coral, they do exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter where the source is.
Well,
there's no LED bar. They're just bar.
Dong, it's absolutely been an amazing talk. You're getting called Doug. You're getting called Doug there, but it is a spell. It is a type.
No problem at all.
I'm sure those of you, 40 odd of you, that are still watching us, would really appreciate Dong coming back on and giving us another talk. So he is going to be coming on in a couple of weeks and rejoin us. We're going to take a little bit of a break from these in-depth chats, which are a little bit of a change in direction. I know for TRN on a Friday night, I know some of you miss certain aspects, games, etc. But more importantly, you miss the reefing news. So it's I'm pleased to say that reefing news will be back on next Friday, which means a certain individual will be taking his rightful seat on the panel. But no, next Friday we are going to be back with Steve and Jez from Exodus. They're going to be having a chat with me and Ronald McDonald for sure about some of the amazing new stuff that Exodus are going to be distributing across the UK, which some of you are going to be lucky enough to see tomorrow at Aqua H. One of which is the Stratton X, which somebody asked about earlier. So if you don't get to see it tomorrow and ask your questions then, you will definitely be able to tune in next Friday night at 8 o'clock to ask Jez and Steve from Exodus. But Dong, thank you ever so much. And as I always say to people, if you've got anything that you would like us to cover with Dong, then please throw it in either the Friday night stream comments as we have it every Friday, and we're going to start doing the Sunday mornings again soon. If not, and you don't get a chance to watch these live, and you have got a suggestion of something you'd like us to cover with Dong or cover just as a general chat on a Friday night, email it into us or drop us a DM, and we will do our best, as always, to try and accommodate. But that just leaves me to say thank you ever so much yet again, Dong, for doing that amazing presentation. That must have took you hours. And yes, I appreciate those of you that tuned in for the last 2 hours 40 on your Friday night / Sunday morning, wherever you are in the world. But have an amazing weekend, Dom. And those of you that are watching at home, thank you very much for coming on again. And I will see some of you tomorrow at Aqua H. Look forward to seeing you. If not, we'll see you next Friday. Have a cracking weekend, everybody. Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.